Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. You can't trust a forward. Listen to my words tonight. Don't just fall in love with my face. I used to be somewhat of a big deal, wheeling, dealing, no bucket in the warm-up, people carrying my bags in. How many times do I have to tell you through text, let's talk about the PK? That is a dirty hit that needs a response. I like a stiff, stout pillow. We'd rather dress nobody than dress you.
The only thing I like better than easy points are free Slurpees.
Goalies embellish all the time. He tumbled over like he was hit by a Zamboni. Am I this good, or are we just winning by 7 goals, and that's why I'm out here? Just say, I know you're right, Struddy. Just get it out. I think I am the modern-day Ronnie Dangerfield.
Yeah, I get no respect.
And now, Weiss Johnson presents Struddy's World. Here's your host, a man who turned down his rightful position in the papal conclave to be here with all of you today, Jason Strudwick.
What's going on today, everybody? Great to have you along. Thanks for joining us. And it's Wing Wednesday. That's right, 25-cent wings. Today, we're going to talk all about the wingers of this team and how it's fitting together so nicely. Also, we'll get you set up on what to expect from Vegas in Game 2. They'll make adjustments for sure. That team is going to come out ready to rumble. Gary Lawless will join us to talk about that. The show is brought to you by our good friends at Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. Weiss Johnson is proud to host their annual golf tournament in support of the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society on June 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. And they'd love to see you there. All proceeds directly support the Society's efforts to meet the evolving needs of the Down syndrome community. To purchase your tickets, email Dennis at info@weissjohnson.com. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
We got a jam-packed show here. Absolutely jam-packed. As I mentioned, Gary Lawless, Vegas Golden Knights insider, will join us in about 7-8 minutes. We've got Jamie Noodles McLennan joining us. And there's me and Zubes. And I'm coming to you live from our beautiful studio here in my office. Now with an online store for all your diesel truck part needs, check out adrenalinediesel.ca. Again, the Adrenaline Diesel studio is a rocking right now, and I'm ready to go. There he is, Zubes.
It is.
Lots to talk about in this, but I'm going to focus on the wingers. Wednesday, 25-cent wings. I'm not sure if that's a thing anymore. Last night.
Not for 25 cents, it isn't. There's Wing Wednesdays, but never for 25 anymore.
They're not giving those away. So we're going to talk about the wingers. We're going to talk about the adjustments. We'll have playing the field in a little time. And we've got a new logo for a team in the NHL. We'll get to that and preview a couple of games tonight. Gary Lawless will join us. Getting off the fence, a pet peeve of mine the hockey players do all the time. And we're gonna try to eradicate this. It has to get out of the game. We'll get into that. And then Jamie Noodles McLennan. And of course, what we love most is hearing from you and Ask Struddy. So get in there. Get it on the stream, tell a friend, get your thoughts in, and we'll be asking or answering the ones that you ask us. So jam-packed show, but Zubie, I want to start right at the top. The wingers on this team are on fire. Absolutely on fire. Last night, 4 wingers scored goals. We're looking at, obviously, Leon, left winger. Then in order, Corey Perry scored right winger. We had Hyman, second right winger, scored a goal. We had Brown score a goal. So 3 right wingers scored a goal last night for this team, and Leon did as well. Now, we'll just park the first line because we expect that from him. But Perry, Brown, and Hyman scored huge goals for the Oilers. I'm here to tell you, I believe the left side is going to or will do the same thing next game. The left side is Leon, Kane, Frederick, and Podkolzin. 4 big bodies. They can bomb the puck. I think these wingers are underrated, and we haven't given enough credit into this series.
And I think maybe the point you're trying to make here is we wouldn't be surprised if those were the goal scorers in Game 2, right? Other than that would be maybe a little bit of a surprise for Podkolzin, but it wouldn't be surprising to hear that those were the goal scorers. The same way the list of the goal scorers from last night aren't particularly surprising. I feel, by the way, on the Perry goal, you guys talked about it last night. I felt bad as a goalie. I felt bad for Aiden Hill on that one because he feels that he played it. He played it hard. He got over, and that's such deft scoring touch to come back and let the goalie slide past it and tuck it into the empty net. It was such a great play by Corey Perry there.
And going into this series, we talked a lot about the centers of the Oilers, right? We looked at Connor, we looked at Nuge, we looked at Henrique, we looked at Janmark, who's done a good job, at center. I talked about the heaviness of the wingers. And if you look at this left side for the Oilers, those are 4 big bodies. Those left wingers for the Oilers are big. But the right isn't exactly small, but they also they're feisty. Hyman, Arvids are not biggest guys, but they play feisty. Connor Brown, super fast. Perry, I don't think I have to define him after 80 years in the NHL. So these wingers are a big part of what this team is trying to do. It's been fantastic. The flip side of this is Vegas Golden Knights. I watched them the game again this morning and kind of checked out. And what I was really surprised by was how little pressure Vegas got on the Oilers' D-men. For the most part, they can make clean, quick breakouts, and they're out of the zone. Now, they were making it clean, and they're making it quick. Now, you can usually do that when you're not feeling a ton of pressure. Then you get comfortable in the game and you start moving it quick. I fully suspect that Vegas is going to get on the D and force the Oilers' D to make mistakes. And I think they're going to go after specifically Emberson, Klingberg, and Bouchard. The other 3 guys are a little bit bigger. They can kind of handle the puck and maybe protect it a bit more. But those 3, I think they're going to get on them. And it'll be interesting to see if Gary Lawless agrees with me. Vegas Golden Knights Insider coming up here in a few minutes. Zoobs.
Yeah. And do you think is anything playing into Vegas's hands possibly for game 2 that those guys didn't feel a ton of pressure last night? Is there going to be an element of surprise at all if they attack in the way you're expecting?
Well, I think after the game we heard from Chris Knobloch, and he spoke about, Vegas is going to make changes, and they do. They're going to make adjustments, that's for sure. But the Oilers have to expect it. If I'm sitting in that room, I'm expecting them to put way more pressure on these guys. Now, the problem is Vegas, they didn't look fast last night. They weren't skating fast. Now, that could be a combination of poor support with the puck and poor dump-ins or chip-ins to make the Oilers deep feel pressure. But when you think back to how many times they made it look easy on the breakouts, it was too much. And I think Vegas, they want to they're good off the rush for sure, but then they're in the offensive zone and they're heavy and they're big and they make you suffer because they hang on to the puck too much. And we didn't see enough of that last night, specifically in the second and third period. So I'm really interested to see what they do to counterpunch, but that'd be my number 1 target if I was Vegas Golden Knights and Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah, if I can I just want to double back to, we've actually got the lines here, and Gary's here, so we'll get to him in just 1 minute. But I wanted to double back and show these lines, courtesy Daily Faceoff. They have a great tool over there for this. And I just thought it was interesting, to look at this depth and we looked at Podkolzin and Arvidsson playing up the lineup all year. That was kind of the expectation of this team, or when they had a few good games or a series of games with Leon Draisaitl at center, the team, fans, media were always trying to find a place for them in the top 6 or the top 9. Now they're in the bottom line and the 4th line, and effective. And it doesn't look out of place when you see the players ahead of them and the playoff they're having at this point in time. So I do feel like the depth of this forward group is finally what Oilers fans have expected, have been hoping for all year, and guys like Kane and Frederick rounding into form, Connor Brown playing some of his best hockey. It's really deep, isn't it, Struds?
It's a really deep group, and guys who are second liners are now forward liners. But I truly believe that Vegas has a better brand of their hockey, and we've seen them play it many, many times. So let's get to that now with longtime broadcaster Gary Lawless, and it's time to get up to speed. Brought to you by Timber House Developments. Need space for the in-laws? Timber House Garden Suites are absolutely perfect for keeping them close, but not too close. The designs are unique, anything but cookie cutter, and the experience of building with Timber House is second to none. They treat you like family, build you a great house or garden suite, and take care of you for years to come. Visit timberhouse.ca. There he is, the main man, the Vegas Golden Knights main insider, and my friend Gary Lawless. Gary, thanks for joining us today. First question, what is the sickness situation with both Pietrangelo, and could it spread to the team?
No idea. We found out just before like warm up last night. We were watching warm up, and Jack Michaels walked into our booth, and he's like, "What's wrong with Petro?" And we were that's warm up had just started. Jack saw it right away.
Jeez.
And we asked Nick Hague. We had Nick Hague as a guest at one of the intermissions, and he played with Caden Korzak last night. And we asked Nick when he found out. He said, just before they went out for warm up. So we'll find out a little bit more from Bruce this morning. Vegas is going to practice at 11:30 Pacific, and hopefully Alex is on the ice. Don't know if he will be, but we'll be able to ask Bruce a little bit more about that at that time. I don't think Bruce was asked about it in the post game last night. Mm-hmm. I wasn't. I was on air still, so I wasn't in the room. But we'll ask today.
Gary, one thing I was surprised by, and I just talked about in the opener, was I was surprised how little pressure Vegas forecheck got on the Oilers D. Would you see the same thing? And is that something that is easy, and can they adjust that in their game?
Well, it was interesting. Vegas was good early, right? And they did some good things, got up 2-0. One shot in the second period, and Aiden Hill was very good in the second. But Bruce said after the game last night, when our game gets this is Bruce speaking, when our game gets off track or off the rails, we get slow. And that's what I saw last night. They were not they had to get more pressure on Calvin Pickard and find out, test him. They really didn't do that after the first 10 minutes. So they need to be way more north than they were last night. And Bruce I'm sure has already addressed that. And it'll be interesting to see what he does in practice, because often his practice is, there'll be drills in the practice that are meant to address deficiencies in the team's game at that time.
They started with Eichel, Carlson, and Stone together. They went away from that. What would you expect they would kind of go back to tomorrow when you're looking at game 2 and potential lineup changes?
Well, they changed their lines midway through the Minnesota series, and then changed them again last night. Not having Dorofeev available has been a challenge for them. He scored 35 this year. He really goes well with Hertl. Hertl was not his usual potent self last night, so we'll see in practice. I'm as interested as you are. Bruce is really good at this. He does it quite often to positive effect. So he'll have a plan, and we'll see it in about 20 minutes.
Gary, when you look at the game last night, what surprised you about the Oilers' play?
Well, I watched the whole series with the Kings, and I didn't really know what to make of Edmonton after that series, because, frankly, LA should have won the series, and they really kind of gave it to Edmonton in the back half of that. And it was, so I was confused as to what, the Oilers were really going to be. But Kane looked good last night. Frederick looked good last night. Connor Brown looked good last night. Podkolzin down the fourth line. He hit people last night. I gave the edge in depth to Vegas before the series. It's only one game. Edmonton's depth was impressive last night.
Yeah, and that's something that I think that no one really knew heading into the playoffs. The team had never played together. And they still don't have their whole team. And just like every team, they have injuries, but not having Ekholm, that makes a pretty big deal, just like no Pietrangelo last night. So let's assume that Pietrangelo plays tomorrow. What impact will Oilers fans, or I guess more importantly, Vegas fans expect with him in the lineup?
Well, he, two-time Stanley Cup champion, never won the Norris, but has always been kind of around it. He's kind of one of the better two-way defensemen, he has been one of the better two-way defensemen throughout his time in the NHL. He's a calming presence. He's a really good leader, a positive guy. They were really good on the kill last night without him, but normally he'd be out there with Braden McNabb. Just, another more veteran influence. But, the defense core wasn't the issue for me last night. I didn't have a big problem with how they played. I would have liked them to be a little quicker, breaking the puck out. I thought they were a little slow in that regard at times, but it's what they did in the middle of the ice and some of the decision-making that and execution, really. It was weird. Edmonton, it started kind of – they weren't great early, and then they just kind of crept into the game and got better and better and better, and Vegas started early and then stalled. So it was an odd game for sure.
Would you expect Pietrangelo to get the hard matchup against Connor, Leon, and Corey Perry?
No, Bruce doesn't really do that.
Okay.
And McNabb and Theodore are very good. Braden McNabb, one of the most underrated defensemen in the NHL. I don't think, and Hannafin and White Cloud, they do a really good job as well. Petrangelo's been playing with Haig, so I don't expect that to be. I think certainly John Stevens and Bruce would have Alex out there against them, but I don't think it's a hard match. No.
And one last one here for Aiden Hill. Like I know people are a little bit critical on it, but like Zach Hyman doesn't shoot the puck from the top of the circles. I wouldn't have bet $1,000 that he was going to shoot from there. Then I think the breakaway, he seemed surprised the way that Theodore kind of got twisted around a little bit. So how would you evaluate his play? And is he known as a guy that kind of whether he needs to or not bounce back in a big game?
Aiden is not. What happens in one game doesn't affect the next game. He's. You've got to be really mentally strong to win the Stanley Cup, and he has done that. The Hyman goal, I think it changes. I think it hits the pant leg on Hannafin and just changes direction a little bit. You'd like him to come up with a save on one of those, like on that one or the Brown one, but the Brown goal, it's a great play. It's I thought Aiden actually could take some real positive from that game and feel pretty good about himself. He was sharp in the second period.
Yeah, lots of pressure for sure. This series is going to be a long one. I think we're going 6 or 7 either way where it comes out, and I can't wait to see what Vegas does tomorrow. It's not going to be fun, I don't think, for the Oilers. Gary, appreciate it, man, and I know you're busy, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, thanks a lot, Jason. Fun being with you.
Great talking to you. Gary Lawless, Vegas Golden Knights insider with the team all the time. Really interesting when you look at this, what's going on with these two groups here, Zubes. Let's get to some audio from last night. Not the Oilers audio, so we'll get into the digital sound box brought to you by our good buddies at Douglas Mattresses. If you're like me, there's nothing better than a good night's sleep after a long day. Your best sleep is just around the corner. With every mattress, they are including a free sleep bundle that includes 2 memory foam pillows, a complete set of luxury sheets, and more. Visit the Douglas Mattress Store in Manchester Square here in Edmonton, or check them out at douglas.ca/GYB. Gary's talked about the neutral zone. I heard other people talk about the neutral zone. Let's hear from Vegas Golden Knights head coach Doug Cassidy about what happened in the second period, and listen to one of the points he makes.
Bruce, right?
Bruce, sorry, what did I say?
You said Doug, and in my head I've had Butch all day. I think every time I try to think of his name. Doug,
sorry.
Bruce, here we go.
And so we couldn't get an opportunity to wear them down that way. And I think the second period, that's where we're typically good in our transition game. They're good at it too, obviously, but I thought where they got the advantage. And they got on the power play twice, right? And they iced it 5 times, and they didn't call it icing. So there's an opportunity to pin them in as well. So some of those little things you could use to your advantage, we didn't do a good enough job with. And, the kill takes some energy against those guys. So you're using your top guys, so that bleeds into your offensive ability after that, right? Because it's a lot of work to kill against them. And, but we got through it. That was the good thing. We got through it, but unfortunately didn't do enough in the third to get it to go our way.
Talks about the neutral zone. That's Bruce Cassidy, head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, brought to you by Douglas Mattresses. He talks about the neutral zone, but one thing that it's interesting philosophical difference. I would not play my top players on a penalty kill. Eichel, Stone, Carlson are out there, and Cassidy talks about it's taxing, it's tiring. So they play them on there, then put whoever on after. The Oilers play, their penalty killers, which include mostly third and fourth liners. Then they come out with their top line. So if you kill that penalty, you get some momentum. And then your first shift back, you have your three best players, or three most offensive players out there, and you're getting energy from that as well. So complete philosophical difference between Cassidy and Knobloch in that specific area of the game.
It feels really, last night I felt, and maybe just from listening to you guys and being on the show, that I'm hearing more stuff and paying more attention to it. It felt like a tactical coaching battle last night to me.
Yeah.
Lots of little things like that. And I love that Knobloch does that. I totally agree. I'd rather see your designated penalty killers. I understand they use McDavid here and there against the Kings because they had 5 forwards on the ice. That was a risk reward, trying to take a shot at something. But I prefer doing it that way too. Have your designated penalty killers load up the nuclear line right after. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it just makes no sense to me having your best people killing penalties regularly. Now, sometimes, yeah, but not regularly. Okay, let's take a quick pause here on the show. When we come back, we'll get with Jamie McLennan. We're going to continue this discussion about Vegas and Oilers. What did he see? And then we'll talk some Toronto Maple Leafs with him. And then obviously we love hearing from you. Ask Struds, put him in the YouTube stream, and we'll get to those later in the show. Right back with Jamie, aka Noodles McLennan.
Dennis here from Weiss Johnson. Are you looking to get into the trades or have a kid graduating high school wondering what to do? Weiss Johnson is looking for career-minded people to work for us. Opportunities truly are endless. Become a service technician, gas fitter, refrigeration technician, install residential or commercial heating and plumbing systems, fireplace installations or service, duct cleaning. We are the company where you can learn all aspects of the trade and pick which career path to take. We have an awesome benefits package and offer school reimbursement too. Visit wjcareers.com today.
McDonald's new cheesy jalapeno and bacon quarter pounder with 100% Canadian beef is here. So if you crave beefy burgers with a pretty peppery punch and pickled jalapeno peppers piled in a perfect bunch, and if you please if a cheesy taste came in threes with cheesy jalapeno pepper sauce poured with ease, and if smoky strips of bacon make burgers better, you'll love our cheesy jalapeno and bacon quarter pounder. Get this beefy, bold, bacony, melty mouthful only at McDonald's for a limited time.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
I love him.
We are back and we are talking Game 2, Oilers Vegas. Oilers are up 1-0 in this series. All important, shifting away from Vegas home ice. Now time to get to Struddy's Buddy, brought to you by HSC Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSC Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements, HSC Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsccore.com. That's hsccor.com for more info. Noodles, fresh, a new haircut. Wow, looking good, man.
I wouldn't say that. I just combed it and it keeps sliding back on me. I don't know. I got to wear a visor like you. Yeah. Maybe that'll shave off about 3 inches.
Too much forehead over here. I got to cover with something. It's either this or a bandana, like Willie Nelson.
Way to dress up for your show. Exactly. You can look like Bret Michaels from Poison, the lead singer. He's bald, or maybe you could be like Andre Agassi. Didn't Andre Agassi in his book admit that he was wearing a wig the whole time? It's awful.
He put it down, tied it down. Yeah. You got to tie it down. It's not easy. Not easy back there to be bald. I feel bad for bald guys. So Noodles, last night, Vegas Oilers. What did you like from the Oilers that allowed them to kind of pull away from Vegas in the second and third period?
Consistency in their game. So I didn't love, early on, you give up RNH, the high sticking, that's unfortunate. He almost takes Hurdle's eye out. It was a scary, scary play. And they score. That puck's going wide, the double deflection. There's nothing you can do on that play. But then outside of the Stone second goal, which I thought was really poor coverage, Perry goes for the slide and he's in the corner and Stone makes a great play. After that, they shrunk the game. And I'll give you an example. The D were able to stay up, like their gaps were better because they had back pressure. And there were guys that were always pursuing the puck from behind, which in past games, that hasn't been the case consistently. So I thought they really controlled the neutral zone. I didn't think Aiden Hill had his best, but the way that the Oilers were able to break them down, I wouldn't say the Oilers are overly fast. I think they're a smart team, but the Oilers looked fast last night because they were moving the puck. And a guy like John Klingberg, I thought was fantastic moving the puck. We know Bouchard can move the puck. Klingberg's got tremendous vision, tremendous. He's as slow as you are, Struddy, right now, but he is like he's so smart. Listen, he never was a burner to start off with. So it's you remove that. That's the Corey Perry, Corey Perry playing on the top line, but Corey Perry knows exactly where to go. Well, that's what John Klingberg knows what to do. And I think when you look at that defensive core, he's helped stabilize it because he's not just a filler. He's become kind of a key piece in moving the puck and getting the puck to those forwards with speed to the neutral zone. So I just like their overall game. It was a team game. Vegas didn't seem too threatening. They were one and done type of thing where you didn't see pockets of, 3 or 4 minutes, them hemmed in their zone and them chasing the puck, the dog park defense. That wasn't the case. They were really methodical. I thought they were rock solid for about 50 minutes of the game. I thought they really dominated that game.
Noodles, I fully believe that Vegas is going to go after the Oilers D. The Oilers D were quick and clean getting the pucks out, and that to me, that's where your transition starts, right? If you want to get up to the neutral zone quick, there's got to be quick and clean in the neutrals in your D zone, led by Bouchard and Klingberg. I am targeting those two guys if I'm the Vegas Golden Knights and making their life living hell, because without that, they're going to wheel and deal, and those forwards are gone.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the counter if you're Vegas is I didn't think they particularly handled or managed the puck properly. But then you have to give credit to the Oilers for really controlling the play and dictating the pace. And the thing is as we've seen in times past, even down the stretch, a lot of the depth players were just killing time out there until McDavid and Draisaitl could get a breather on the bench. That isn't the case now. I thought Adam Henrique, his game has come to life a little bit. I was concerned about his pace, but he's so smart. Connor Brown obviously scores that goal, but Connor Brown's playing some really good hockey. He's great on the penalty kill. What is it called? The janitor?
The janitor. Janmark.
Janmark looks really good, and he's confident with the puck. He's holding on to it. I thought Pod Colson was really heavy on the forecheck, and so you're looking at some of these players. Arvidsson was flying last night. He looked like he had a lot of jam and a lot of jump. So a lot of their players, I'll be honest, I've gone through a bunch. I should have just said, I don't have anybody on my hand I can think of that didn't have a good game last night, which is rare. Usually you're, in a loss or something, you're going, this guy played well, but the rest, nobody was any good. I would say on the other side, you're probably looking for guys that you didn't think played well, which is a good sign because I thought everybody played to their capability for the most part.
Yeah, I love that you bring in the wingers because that's where I started the show. Their three top right wingers scored last night, and Leon Draisaitl, but let's just leave that alone.
Yeah.
I could see the 3 top left wingers scoring tomorrow night because Frederick had a couple good chances hit. I think 2 posts. Leon, that you don't have to say much more. But Evander Kane, he's those guys, and then Paul Colson. Like when I look at the 12 forwards, I believe if they play like they did last night, everyone is capable of scoring. And that is a rare thing. Even when you watch other teams in the playoffs, it doesn't feel like everyone's line and individually could score.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And you think about it, is the stat, and I know it's cherry picking a stat, but I believe heading into the series, the last 9 goals did not have 97 or 29 beside it, right? It was like crazy. So that does speak to other guys waking up, other guys playing well. I think there's a little bit more from the D, even though I think that the key for the D is getting your shots through. That's what we're seeing in the league right now. If you can get your shot through from the point, you're giving yourself a chance to score because it's traffic everywhere. But I agree. I thought the wingers did a good job last night, and your depth gets challenged. because that's honestly, if Vegas is like, hey, we got to worry about Connor Brown, that leaves 97 maybe open at some point on a shift. And, I thought the Hockey Night did a really good job of pointing out the one shift on Perry's goal where they didn't get a matchup, where Cassidy didn't get his matchup, and McDavid exposed it. But it started with a beautiful pass out of their own zone. I think that was Klingberg. That's 80-foot cross-ice pass, rocket on the tape. It's a two-zone pass. It's perfect. Now, we've seen Bouchard do that, but we've also seen him turn that puck over. Like, I don't want to see that all the time, but you take what's there. And it was a beautiful pass, and McDavid with speed, you're not going to catch him coming up the ice. And they're able to take advantage of one mismatch in one period, and it cost Vegas a goal in that first period. So, I think they were opportunistic, but they looked like the better team from top to bottom yesterday.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what Vegas makes for adjustments as we head into Game 2 tomorrow. Game 2, Leafs and Florida. Joseph Woll comes in relief of Stolarz. Where is the pressure meter for Joseph Woll that he's now come in? He got his beak wet in the prior game. What is he feeling, or what could he be feeling now?
I mean, the pressure's through the roof. You had Anthony Stolarz down the stretch as year one. He gets through Ottawa in 6 games and looks pretty good doing it. You get hurt in game 1, and Florida actually gets their game going about the last 30 minutes. And they start to apply some pressure. And regardless of what you think of the goals going in on Woll, it was also that Florida started to wake up a little bit. I thought the Leafs were fantastic in the first period. I thought Florida was awful. And I actually thought Bobrovsky was awful. Like 30 seconds into the series, you allow a goal from on the goal line. Like, I know it was a screen, but it just, Bobrovsky, I thought, allowed 3 bad goals there. Tanev's, it barely made it to the back of the net. He just flicked it towards from the point. He was even surprised. But that being said, coming back to your original question, there's a ton of pressure on Woll. Because, yes, is he capable of doing it? He played more than Stolarz this year. People forget about that. Like, he was kind of their number one for a while in the absence of Anthony Stolarz with his 6-week to 8-week injury. So, I think he's capable. But I would say this, and we have a segment on our show called the Underpants Cam. If you allow 2 goals early and Florida, finds something, or if tonight Florida wins and the goaltender's not that good, the pressure just continues to mount, right? Because, everything for the Leafs had gone right. There've been no injuries. No guys missed to anything, nothing. They've just been rolling along. It wasn't a knock 'em drag out series against Ottawa at all. They skated through that unscathed. I'm sure there was ice bags from guys blocking shots. I get that. But I'm talking, they were intact, where we're seeing injuries throughout the league. I don't know if Pietrangelo was just sick or if he's nicked up and question mark. But, not everybody was playing with their goods. That Dorofeyev or whatever, unavailable in games 1 for Vegas. So you look at it throughout the league. Look at what Winnipeg's going through. Look at what Dallas is going through. I see it. Protas coming back in for Washington. So this is the first bit of adversity for the Leafs, but certainly the pressure is on Joseph Woll.
How did you like the way the Leafs handled the bully factor that the Florida Panthers like to bring to games?
It's hard to explain, but would I've liked to seen at least a pushback? Like, near the end of the game, Matthew Tkachuk was going after Marner, and Marner just skated away. Listen, they played junior together. They're buddies. I get it. But Matthew Tkachuk plays for keeps. Would I've liked to see maybe offsetting slashing penalties? I would have taken that. Just to go, you want to mess with me? You're going to do this for the next 6 games, potentially, however long this series goes. Like, sometimes I like pushback, just not even for the sake of it, letting the person who's trying to push you know, like, it's a different world now. I'm going to push you back. And Mitch Marner doesn't have to fight. There are situations. The worst thing the Leafs can do tonight is chase Sam Bennett around, because then they'll be in the box and Florida can go to work on the power play. I think what they got to do is take an opportunity whether that's in this series in a blowout game or something, then somebody fights him or, do what you do. But it's methodical. And yes, he's public enemy number one, but he plays for keeps, and he makes no apologies for it. But in the end, I think discipline has to come in with the Leafs. Ottawa tried to do it game one, and the Leafs got 3 power plays out of 6 opportunities. With Florida, they have 51 hits. They're not going to lay off. You saw what they did to Edmonton last year, and you heard Paul Maurice when he was mic'd saying, hey, you guys, like you hit them until there's nothing left in game 7. And that was one of Maurice's comments. I don't think Florida takes their foot off the gas. The only thing I could probably guarantee is the Florida Panthers will be better tonight than they were in game 1. The Leafs have to have a response or be better as well.
Noodles, where are you going to be today? What's your lineup look like today for work?
I'm on overdrive from 4 to 7 Eastern, and then I will be on the TSN panel for the Winnipeg Jets, Winnipeg-Dallas game 1, starting at 9:50 Eastern, which should be illegal in most homes out east. I mean, 9:50. I don't mind it if that's 7:50 in Edmonton or 6:50 in Vancouver. How if you're a player for the Winnipeg Jets? Hey, tonight we dropped the puck at 9 o'clock. You can have 2 naps and 2 pregame meals. What are you going to do?
Crazy.
Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
I get it. This is above our pay grade. TV dictates it. You want an early, you want a late. I get that. But Dallas and Winnipeg being in the Central kind of get jammed up with those time starts. I hate them.
So late. So it is absolutely crazy. I'm going to stay up and watch that one, but I'll watch them both, but it's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Noodles, you also have a massive guest coming on your show, I believe, at 4:30 Toronto time. So be careful for this guy. He's really knowledgeable and witty.
I haven't seen the lineup, but I believe I'm surprised they're having you on considering Edmonton won last night. I don't know what's going on. Like somebody must be sick in the booking area for us, because usually it's like, hey, Edmonton's lost 3 in a row. Let's call Struddy. It's like, McDavid got 5 goals last night. Nah, nothing to see here. How are the Jays doing? What's going on with the Jays?
I know. That's when they talk about the Argos. That's when they bring in the Argos. The Oilers are playing well.
TFC and there's a lacrosse team or what. I have no idea, but I just know that you are the last phone call when the Oilers are doing well. So I'm very surprised that they made the call.
I know. Must be out of options. So I'll be there, buddy. But thank you for this, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Good luck today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
That's Jamie McLennan, a very attractive man. And he's very kind because I know he's still listening. So
last time you were so gutless. That's why you were so gutless. You're like a lazy glove hand, and he's fat, and you were like, you had all of these things on the way out, and I was still listening. That's the problem.
Even my wife said, be kind to Noodles today. So you look nice. Everything's great. You're a handsome man. Talk to you later,
you know what?
Noodles.
Now you're being condescending. Now you're that's even worse. See you guys.
The great Jamie McLennan from Timberhouse Developments. This series is fascinating. The Toronto Panthers and when you watch that series, I thought the Panthers didn't play a good game, but I think they got some shots in, and Joseph Woll. He looked a little bit rattled there to me, Zubes, in the 3rd period when things were getting tight. The old pills shrunk up to pretty tight.
Yeah, I didn't, I see the things that we can all see, which is that, I can't break down a goalie's style or whatever the way that Noodles can, but I can see body language and, which we can all see, but I didn't like it. You could definitely see that he wasn't feeling super confident about that next shot. And that's always what it's all about, is just that next shot for the goalie. How do you feel? Do you think you're going to stop it? Plays into it a lot if you stop it or not.
100%. Let's go back to the digital soundbox by Douglas Mattresses. One final thought from Mark Stone, and he talks about the neutral zone and D zone of Vegas Golden Knights.
We did a pretty good job actually getting some pucks back. We just didn't execute in transition really. Early on we did. We had some good looks, some great chances with some 2-on-1s. 3-on-2s. We just didn't capitalize. And like I said, we didn't execute at a super high level through the neutral zone tonight, and that kind of cost us our ozone time. You turn the puck over in little spots. Gives them a chance to turn back the other way, and I think that's kind of what happened in the second and the third.
Yeah. So every quote I've listened to from them, every expert I've heard out of Vegas, they've all talked about the neutral zone, the speed and pucks turnover. So the Oilers better be ready for that, because if they're talking about it, Bruce Cassidy is the one who's leading that orchestra of voices. So neutral zone, clean out their own zone, and getting on the Oilers D. That's what we're going to see, I think, tomorrow. And the good thing is you can expect it to be.
Yeah, and we got a couple of interesting comments on that as well that we're going to get to and Ask Us Anything. So there's some good stuff coming in here. We're going to have a great Ask Struds segment at the end of the show here today, and we'll touch on some of that stuff as well. Some of the other adjustments people are asking about.
Yeah, and there's going to be lots. This will be a good coaching battle between these two guys. Okay, so let's step out here. When we come back, we'll play the field. A couple interesting things for you to look at, including a new logo for the newest team in the NHL. Well, newish. Old newish, I guess. Yeah. And then we'll get to getting off the fence. My pet peeve. We got to get this out of the game. It is so painful in the NHL. We'll get it out of the game. That and more next. And your comments, keep them coming on the stream. Tell a friend. Give us a thumbs up. We'll be right back.
If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca. For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine-washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon on Struddy's World. Zubie and I are taking you through talking about things that are happening in the Oilers world. If you haven't heard it, check back in the podcast form. Right now, though, we're going to play the field, brought to you by Play Alberta, the online gambling site that wants to put you in a scoring position with a $50 free bet. Bet on all your favorite Alberta sports teams or whatever team you love. Then hit the slots and play for a big jackpot or stack your chips at the live dealer tables. To earn this month's $50 free bet, use code GYBO5 at playalberta.ca. Utah Hockey Club. That's what they became. They moved over from Phoenix, and they just called themselves Utah Hockey Club. I liked it, much like the Washington Football Club. I think it's unique. I would have maybe kept that if I was both Washington, the Commanders. Oh, man, tough name. But Utah has nailed it. Today, they officially announced they will be known forever as a Utah Mammoth. And it is a sick name. The logo is absolutely sick. Zubie, you can maybe throw it up if we got it there. That is absolutely awesome. I have no idea how to describe it for those of you listening. I'd suggest you get on the YouTube stream and look at it. But the coloring is the same. Kind of that I don't know, not really kind of like icy blue, white, and black. It's a mean looking mammoth. Like it looks like it's got a game face on. I love these jerseys, buddy. I'm not a jersey guy, but I love it. When I saw the Seattle Kraken jersey, I was like, yeah, whatever. But I love the looks of these jerseys. They are absolutely fantastic. I think that taking their time, the year to get it right was the right move, and they nailed it here.
It was for sure. Taking the time is right. You never want to rush something like this. I'm surprised. I like the color scheme. It's a little bit close to Winnipeg, but I mean, when you got 32 teams, it can be hard to separate. I mean, the Oilers and the Islanders still are obviously very close as well. So it's just making that comment because it's a new team. But the bigger surprise for me here is that they kept just the Utah font on the road jersey, on the white jersey. And the logo then goes up onto the shoulder patch, as you can see there. I was a little bit surprised by that because I thought, just for the purposes of, I think we know what it's like to sell. They always want to sell jerseys. So I know there are some subtle changes there still from the one this year, but I expected it to be a full rebrand from anything they showed this year, because then all their great supporters have to go out and buy a new jersey if they want to be up to date.
Well, that Utah, I like that looks like. I like the lettering down the Utah. I like that looks really cool. Like I think back to New York Rangers had New York across theirs. Like it's kind of something, dare I say, classic look about that. And I think it's great. So I think Utah nailed this.
Yes.
The fan base, they've got a good young team. I think they moved up actually in the draft lottery. They've got good young players coming. Yeah. I suspect this will be a place that will be fun to watch. They're doing a huge reno on their building. So a lot of positive momentum for Utah. And I think this is just the icing on top of that. So well done by that franchise adding that in.
And on the stream, we did a quick poll too on the stream to see how the listeners feel about it. How do you feel about the reveal of the Utah Mammoth team name and logo? Love it, 52%. They 27% saying it wish it could have been the Yeti, as that was one of the other rumored names, but I think there was a copyright issue there. And only 20% of the folks saying pass. So still positive reviews, and lots of people chiming in with their comments too, saying that Avi Hoffman says the logo is so elite. And I would be inclined to agree. Really good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm not a guy that buys a lot of logoed stuff, but that's a hat I'd buy and wear that around.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd buy GYB stuff, right? Got your back brand of stuff, but not so much others. Next up, we talked about the Leafs Panthers tonight. I think that's going to be a physical game. I really think the Panthers are going to come out and they're going to win this game. I think they're going to get to Joseph Wall. I think we're going 1-1 back to Florida. Dallas, Winnipeg, finally underway. Dallas played Saturday, Winnipeg Sunday. Both teams, emotional roller coasters in those series, and for sure those final games. Now they finally are playing Wednesday night, so they had a couple days to rest. It sounds like Josh Morrissey, Mark Scheifele, and Logan Stanley are all game time decisions, according to Maple Leafs, Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel. Both Morrissey and Scheifele practice in regular jerseys. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
They need those guys. Make no mistake about it. That's your number one center, your number one D. You cannot be trying to beat the Dallas Stars without those guys. I think Dallas is carrying more momentum into this series than the Jets. I think the Jets, they won that series. I'm not sure they beat St. Louis. I think that the Dallas Stars got better as that series went on. I think that they are feeling good about themselves, especially Mikko Rantanen, these types of players for that group. So I think that I'm looking at Dallas as a winner of this one. And Connor Hellebuck, I don't think he's taken any kind of momentum into this series other than he did say that he feels like the weight of his world's off his shoulders. But how many good games did he play in that? This is a Vezina Trophy winner. We're not talking about a backup goalie winning games here, Zubes.
Yeah, he played, 3 decent games, the home games before Game 7. And yeah, I'm surprised at the sort of the media, or maybe the story that Jets media is trying to put out about, Hellebuck, feels like he's turned the page or, whatever. I don't know. When you're in a funk, and he was still in a funk in that game, and even late, he made a couple saves in overtime, but I saw he didn't have to make many saves. The Jets dominated that overtime for the most part. And I saw someone analyzing Hellebuck that they thought he played differently in the overtime, challenging more coming out. He's a big guy, so normally he kind of sits back a little bit more. That's more of his style. But that doesn't give me a ton of confidence either. You have to change your style to make a few saves that you've relied on for your whole your Hart Trophy, Vezina Trophy career, or rather season and career. So, and I didn't like how he looked. He looked to me like a guy in that overtime that was praying that it was going to end at the other end and not in his. He's a great goaltender, and obviously he's a professional and he can bounce back. But my confidence is not super high.
No, and I think there needs to be a game early in the series where he's the best player on the ice. And we haven't seen that
Yes.
from him in
Yeah.
the first 7 games. That needs. On the other side, the Dallas Stars, both Jason Robertson, their lead center, and of course, Miro Heiskanen, they both skated today. Miro Heiskanen is not playing tonight, but Jason Robertson, like the other 3 Jets, is a game time decision. So lots of that's 4 stars, but arguably the 2 best forwards and 2 best D in the series are both questionable for tonight's game. So it does even out. When Heiskanen comes back, that's huge because now you have he and Harley back there wheeling and dealing. Man, that is going to be a big, big deal. Okay, that was Playing the Field. If you have any questions about that, please put it into our stream. Ask Struds. We'll get there. And if you're in there, give us a thumbs up. We love the thumbs up. Now it's time to get off the fence. Brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products, Alberta's leading supplier of vinyl products. DLR offers premium materials for fences and decks designed to stand the test of time, no rotting, fading, or deteriorating. Whether you're looking for a professional contractor or planning to tackle the project yourself, they have the resources and expertise to help. Canadian-owned and operated with locations in Calgary and Edmonton. Check them out online at dlrvinylproducts.ca. Zubie, we have to let everybody do their own jobs. I don't tell you how to produce this show.
That's
I
true.
don't ask firemen to drive a certain way. I don't tell doctors how to diagnose me. When you're an NHL player, do your job. Your job is to play between the whistles, pass the puck, make hits, make plays, all those types of things. So why then, when there's an icing, do we see people lift their hands up in the air? We see D-men, when the puck goes flying there, they have to point like they see something in the sky that's coming through. Now, if you want to argue for a penalty, I can live with that. But icings, offsides, pucks in the air, you don't have to call it. That's the linesman's job. That's the ref's job. It bothers me so much. Now, if a goalie puts his hand up on icing, I can live with that because I believe he's signaling to his teammates what is going on because he can see up the ice that they're calling it. But I cannot stand it when I see players, specifically D-men, raising their hand when there's an icing. Yeah, we know that. Just go back there and get the puck in case it's not. And I bet you sometime this playoffs, we're going to see someone raise their hand because they think it's icing. It's not icing. They're going to get beat. There'll be a goal scored on it. And I'll sound like Don Cherry saying, I told you so, kids. Don't do that. Play the game. I don't understand why they have to do it. Let them do their job. You do yours.
Do you think this is escalated? Is it more prevalent
100%.
now than like when you played?
100%. I don't remember anyone doing it except goalies. Again, goalies, it's a little bit different. I don't remember guys all doing this all the time. Now, to be fair, the puck over the glass wasn't always a penalty, but why do they put their hand up when there's icing? We know it's icing. Everyone knows it's icing. You know how I know? I look at the linesman. He's doing his job. He's the one doing it. You don't have to put your hand up in the air. So it drives me crazy.
Do you think sometimes they might be trying to influence though? I know of course I'm playing at a level with referees who are probably not quite as up to speed as the NHL referees are. But as a goalie, sometimes I'll put my hand up too if I believe it should be icing and they haven't made a decision yet, and I hope maybe it influences them. Anything to that?
Could be, but some are so obvious that I think that you don't have to put it up for everyone. And I know D-men in the league that do it for almost every icing. They put their hand in the air. We don't have to put up for everyone. Because now I think when you do complain about something, the rest like, you already helped me for the last 20. Why should I listen to you now? So I think you have to be careful. There's that element of what is it? The boy crying about something, boy crying wolf. Crying wolf. You can only cry wolf so many times. And I think you waste those opportunities to do it when you're doing it every single time. Keep your hand on your stick. God, it drives me crazy.
Okay, so last thing, how do you want to get it out of the game? In baseball, like because they do that in every sport, right? In football, they're throwing the flag.
Right.
In soccer now, they want the VAR. They'll turn to the ref. They want the VAR. And the most extreme example I could think of is in baseball. Not quite the same, but in baseball. When a pitch is outside and they draw on the on the dirt outside the batter's box with the bat, and now in baseball you're gone. That's an ejection. It's like one of those unwritten rules. If you do that, you're tossed. So how do you get it out of the game? Do you want there to be a penalty? Do you want to be a quick ejection or call off the icing? How about that? The icing gets called off if the defenseman tries to call it.
That would be dramatic, and I'd love to see that. Now, I think people just have to come to their senses because we're not going to call a penalty on that. Like, it's not a misconduct, right? I find it offensive, but it doesn't mean it's a misconduct. There's a different thing there.
Right.
So I think people just have to understand that we don't need to help everyone do their jobs. Just do your own job. The refs, the linesmen are doing a really good job of calling the games, and you don't need to. But you watch, Zubie, I'm telling you, like I said earlier, someone's going to be arguing or having their hand up in the air for an icing or an offside, and they're not going to be ready, and they're going to get beat. And I'm going to come on here and just chirp about how smart I was. So
I can't wait.
Let's get it out. Let's get it out of the game. Tell your friends, tell your kids, don't put your hand in the air. So I tell my kids all the time, you raise your hand, you're going to raise your hand right to the bench and sit beside me for a long time.
I love that.
All right, let's get now to Ask Struds, brought to you by McDonald's, helping you get your morning started right. Right now, you can pick up any size McDonald's premium roast coffee at a new low price, starting at just $1 plus tax for a small. And that's every single day. Stop in at your local McDonald's and see for yourself. The old golden arches. I love it. What do we got here, Zoobs?
You're doing the Lord's work trying to get that out of the game, starting at the grassroots level, get it out from the coaches. Coaching standpoint. Colin Williams said, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, Struddy, but visors look way cooler turned back around. Probably would be good for the show, but then we wouldn't see the logo. That's more of a Browning thing.
Fair. Yes. Brownie loves it backwards. No, I like it. I'm more going for the Bill Belichick look, because doesn't he wear it? It's me, him, and Peyton Manning. I think we're the only three people that wear visors pretty much every day of our lives.
I was going to suggest to Noodles that, you can get visors with the hair built in. It looks like you got a little extra there. Okay, let's get to some questions here. Lots of good stuff here on the stream. Andrew Erb says, Struddy, with Emberson playing the fewest minutes of both teams, could you see Stetcher getting a shot to lace them up? If his ice time is way down, at what point in time do they just consider not to give just to keep Stetcher fresh and in the loop and have a game if it's only 6-7 minutes?
I love that question because I was actually thinking about this today. So the challenge is that Stetcher face is the size. I didn't feel like last night Vegas flexed their muscle in the offensive zone. I don't think they're a massively physical team, but they're physical in the way that when they hold the puck, it's hard to get over them. But if the Oilers decide they want to really move the puck quickly, and that's how they're going to stay away from Vegas being able to get in on the forecheck, then Stetcher is your guy. He is your guy for that because he skates quicker than Emberson, and I think he can make quicker plays. Now Emberson has his role in the penalty kill, and maybe that's enough to keep him in there. But it was a really interesting point. So ask me this after the game tomorrow night when we have a podcast. How does the forecheck affect the Oilers, D? And if it's not that heavy, then I think you put Stetcher in because he is going to help fuel the quick breakouts for the Oilers. Great question. Thank you.
This is another really good question. We didn't get to it last night, and I wanted to bring it up. Dave Morley said, someone explain Connor Brown's celly to me. Did he just want to do it in front of the Vegas bench? It was very unusual where he stopped and didn't follow through to hit the gloves on the bench. What did you think of that last night, Struds?
He's feeling very confident, and I want to continue to encourage players to get that confidence. When he got that puck last night, he was flying, absolutely fine. And you can talk about whether Shea Theodore played it well or not. Connor Brown didn't give him a chance to make the decision. He just skated at him and made him get him roller skates, and he was by him before he even knew it. So, a couple things. One, Shea Theodore and other D, they noticed about the speed of Connor Brown. That'll pay off at some point because they're going to back off more, and the Oilers might be able to, or Connor Brown specifically, cut more to the middle. But yeah, that celebration was unique. It felt a little bit more maybe in a clinching game celebration than a game one. And I think that Vegas will have recognized that and be interesting to see what they do, if anything, to kind of thank Connor Brown for that interesting celebration, which I liked.
I loved it. Well, he clinched the game. I think I understand what you're saying. Maybe he was feeling like this clinched the game. I iced the game. So maybe too early in the series to get to that, but certainly it clinched the game. JP chiming in says, LA was a great warm-up for Vegas. I don't know how much we ever think about how the team you played before helps you, but is there, that was a tough series, a physical series. Does the first round opponent in any way help the Oilers moving on?
Well, Brownie made a good point last night, and he makes many. If you listen to our GYB podcast, he said Vegas's forwards aren't as fast as the Kings, and I agree with that. Kings has some really fast forwards. So I think that the Oilers, again, I'm going to just chime in on the D. The D were accustomed to when they decided to forecheck, which is a whole nother story. But when Kings decided to forecheck, the Oilers had to play really fast. So I think they're used to playing really fast and getting the puck out of their zone. Now, I don't think Vegas's forwards are as fast either, so they're unable to get there as quick. So now the Oilers are still moving it quick because they're used to having to move it quick against the Kings. So I think that was a great tune-up. I do think the Kings series was more physical than this one, but it's early. And there's a history between the Kings and Oilers. I mean, you lose to the same team 4 times, Zubie, you're not happy. Like, you beat me 4 times in chess, some couch is getting tossed around in one of our houses, right? So I think we have to understand that part too. Let's see what this game, the physicality level, looks like in game 5 or 6. But a great point by Brownie. And I do think that it will prove to be a great tune-up for the Oilers playing the Kings.
A glass of grape juice is getting tossed for sure if that happens. Mike Tyson here says, hey, Strud, why does everyone say Vegas has the edge in net? Aiden Hill is bottom 5 in both save percentage and goals above expected. There was another comment here on Aiden Hill. Haggard Prospector said, I wonder if Hill has a weak glove. Hyman and Brown both beat him clean there. What do you think of Aiden Hill? What do you think of the goaltending matchup? It doesn't, I mean, I think the overarching theme might be, quote, Vegas has better goaltending, but that's not the way I'm feeling about it right now. Are you?
Yeah. And I think that Aiden Hill isn't on his game exactly. It wasn't bad last night, but I mean, the Connor Brown goal and the goal by Hyman, I think one or even Gary Lawless said it, one or the other should have been saved. And I do think that ticked up the Hyman goal. I think it ticked up just kind of his reaction. It felt like he was trying to get his chest up. So I'm with you. I think that's 100%. Now, what does that mean for the rest? Well, I think that for both teams are probably a little bit squeamish about their goaltender. So right now, I think that Pickard is doing the right thing. He's just giving the Oilers a chance to win. That we know. No one's expecting Calvin Pickard to steal a game. He's just giving them a chance to win. And I think that is all you can ask of your goaltender, who's supposed to be the backup. But Aiden Hill, I think he feels pressure to be better. Pickard knows he doesn't have to win the series. He just has to give him a chance. I think that's the difference between the two goalies.
I felt like Aiden Hill on the Brown goal had an expectation maybe that it was at Theodore that he went around.
Yeah.
That I think he had an expectation that because Theodore was going to do something differently because he was quite deep, very deep in his net for what amounted to a breakaway, or a partial breakaway. So I think he was kind of expecting something different from the defenseman. Where did I have here next? Peter Lavallee. Lots of people brought this up last night. So let's just talk about it. Peter Lavallee says, is it a real distinctive possibility of Ekholm actually playing this playoffs, or is it 10% chance and 90% wishful thinking? Struds, I know you're not an insider in this world, but from what you're hearing, you've been around the game, how they would talk about a player versus what reality is. What's your gut say?
I think it's best for us to think he's not coming back. And if he does come back, it's a positive, right? As far as I know, he's not even close to skating. And if it is a groin injury, there are some whispers, a significant groin injury is a long way back. It's not a broken wrist where you can say he's 4 to 6 weeks. So every groin is unique. So in my mind, I've decided he's not coming back, and maybe a small percentage chance in the final, maybe a small percentage. But groins are difficult. You have to make sure you treat it right. It needs its rest. And you can't just keep working on it. It needs complete and total rest if it is as serious as maybe some people are whispering about.
It'll be one of those ones. Who in 2006, who showed up magically was it Eric Cole came back out of nowhere for Carolina in the finals when no one had even talked about, they thought he was done. No one had even talked about him. And then boom, he showed up for game 4 or something. I feel like it might be that kind of situation once it's so far down the road, he's forgotten about. And then he'll take warm up randomly when one big game. Okay, 2 more, and then we'll get us out of here. This is something else that kind of mentioned was a couple times last night. Michael East Coast says 29 and 97 playing great, but 29 seems to be missing some jam. And I would agree. I'm not sure his skating, stride, looks 100%. We know players even in the second round are banged up this time of year. Do you see anything from Dry that suggests maybe he's hurting or lagging a little bit?
I think everyone's injured this time of year, right? But I think of a couple of times he exploded with some speed, specifically one turnover he had in the third period. He was flying back. He absolutely was flying back. So, Leon is such a great player. I have zero concern about what he's going to provide for this series. I mean, the goalie scored. How many players in the NHL even try to do that? To shoot it off the goalie's pad when they're sitting in the crease and he's behind the net. Like there's not many. Let's just put it that way. So, I would like to see him challenge people more with the speed, like we saw Connor McDavid on. I think it was on Leon's goal where he just flew up the ice, pushed the D-man back, throws it back to Bouchard. Like I want to see them do that because the more people that do that, the more the Vegas D will back up.
And I'll tell you, a lot of people keep calling that Leon goal fluky, and I know even in post game last night, I think it was Hyman corrected someone, a reporter who said that, and he said, well, that's Leon Draisaitl. He meant to do that. He certainly meant to do it. It was intentional to get the bank. And this doesn't get talked about, I think, that much either, because it is a weird kind of a fluky play. But Hill played that poorly too, to put your pad down pointing the net like that. Most goalies would know when that comes around. You either literally jump when you know that attempted bank shot is coming, or you have to set up all your angles, sticks and pads, everything that it's going to deflect out with no chance to deflect back. So I mean, it happened fast. I have no doubt. I'm not saying I would have stopped it, but I'm sure he's not thrilled about how that went down. Okay, last one here from Brownie Oilers. He says, thank you guys for Struddy's World. I was crazy nuts when they won last night. This is an interesting way, I think, the way he phrases this. What do the Oilers need to be careful about moving forward after this first game?
I'm not going to say anything like overconfidence. I mean, this team has been through a lot. They understand it's 4 wins. It's not 1, it's 4. I'm looking at some of the depth scoring that Vegas has, whether it's Eichel, whether it's Howden, Stone, they have Carlson, they have lots of guys that can score in different ways, just like the Oilers are seeing that from some of their wingers and forwards. You have to be very aware that these guys can score, a lot of them, and their best goal scorer is not in the lineup. So I'm aware of, and not fearful of, but you want to be aware of their ability to score from all 4 lines, just like the Oilers have as well. And that's a big deal.
Right. And don't get caught just thinking about 1 or 2, that you only 100%. Have to defend hard against 1 or 2 lines. Yeah.
100%. All right. So that was Ask Us Anything by our good friends at McDonald's. Go check out their coffee. It is delish. That's it for us, Zoobs. Just a couple of reminders. Obviously, we have a podcast after the game tomorrow, game 2. That'll be right after the game. Guessing somewhere around 11 p.m. We can't be sure because of game times, but check our social feeds for that.
Same start time, and we went right at 11:15 last night. So hopefully we're close to that again.
That would be fantastic. Watch for the Oilers left wingers, Leon, Kane, Frederick, Podkolzin. I'm looking for an offensive breakout from them in game 2 in Vegas. Hopefully they can come back and with 2-0 lead after that. This will be a really, really tough game. Any final thoughts, Zoobs?
Well, in response to you saying that, lots of people are saying, do you think Pods is due? I think they said he's the only Oiler, or at least the only forward that doesn't have a playoff goal so far.
I don't know if I would say due. There's a possibility, right? Like I think there's just a possibility that he could score. He hasn't had a ton of chances. Right now, his job is being physical and forechecking. And he's doing a great job of that. And I expect nothing less from him. But I would say like Frederick is due, even though he scored, I know, recently. But he had a couple posts last night.
Posts, yeah.
Left wings. Watch the left wings tomorrow. Let's hope I was right so I can brag about it after the game at 11:15 Thursday night. All right. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to you, Zoobs, for being a part of the show. Our guests, Gary Lawless and Noodles. And obviously to all of our listeners. We love that you tune in and take your time during your lunch hour to listen to us. If you like what you're hearing, tell a friend. Give us a thumbs up. Spread the word. We want to keep this growing week after week. Enjoy game 2. We'll be on with Zubie, Brownie, Shagar, and myself after the game tomorrow night. See you, everybody. Have a great day.